All right, team, we're back. I'm going to give an update on where things are at since our last video. I've had a lot going on the last couple of weeks. We had a big snowstorm going on right now. I had to get a new roof on the house. But this is where we were at on the machine. So I've got the exterior completely painted, and as you can see from the video here, the inside is all new red oxide. So the inside's completely painted as well. See here, this is the front cover. I cleaned off the nameplates as well and clear coated those with the gloss clear so they look nice. There's another part of it down there. You'll see some red components around it because I got another red one in work as well. Here's the back piece. These have some dust on them because I let them sit outside for a few days so they didn't smell in my garage like paint. And there's the top lid right there. A couple other things that we did. So I'm going to bolt some lead holders on the side of this thing, and here's a couple right here that I built. You'll see the accents are all copper, horseshoes and railroad spikes. So I took some old horseshoes and I cleaned them off on the wire wheel, and then I cut the ends off down here to make it flat on the end of the railroad spike. I heated these up with a torch, bent them at a 90-degree angle, and then welded them on. So these will go on the sides of the machine, and they'll hold the leads. Now, the front amp wheel, it's been repainted as well. I still have the masking tape on, but that's all copper, so that way it'll break up some of the covering. The fan motor, we had to get a new fan motor, so we ordered this from Stumps Welding. Generally, I rebuild these myself. There you go, that's probably a little better. They do the same thing I do. They crack them up and put new bearings in them. I wiped it down a little WD-40 and scrubbed it because generally you find these a little bit of corrosion, but that's in good standing there. The fan motor was pretty bent up and beat up, if you remember. So what we did is we straightened it out a little bit with some pliers, and then I took some tin snips and I snipped about an 1/8 inch off of each blade, because if you remember from some of our first videos, the casing doesn't quite fit evenly. We found some evidence of it looked like the machine had fallen at some point. So that should be good to go. And we'll test fit it and everything when we get it on. As far as the fan motor rebuild, I've had folks ask me before, the way that works, if you wanted to save some money, so you'll see, here's the motor. What you can do is you undo all of these nuts on both sides, and then these bolts slide out the back. And so these will come out the back this way. And then what you do is you take a chisel, and there's a kind of a ridge right here. And what you do is you essentially take a chisel and a mallet, and you pop this top cap off that way. So you'll chisel it, you hit it once that way, and then you flip it over and do this side, then this side, and work it off. And when that comes off, this top cap comes off, it'll go off the top, you can pull this exiter off right here. So this whole mechanism will come out, and at that point there's a bearing on each side. And what you do is you buy a bearing puller, and I'll show you which one I got here. Got a pretty basic small bearing puller. Get this on Amazon or eBay or something. They're about $10–15. It allows you to slide those bearings off, and then on each end of that shaft, run it on a wire wheel to get any sort of corrosion off, and then you can put your new bearings on. Sometimes they don't slide right on. You may have to kind of massage them on with a vise or something, but super not that hard, and it'll save you a whole lot of money. So that's where we're at right now on the machine. So essentially where we're at, we're ready for full assembly. So what we're going to do next, you remember the polarity adjustment mechanism I rebuilt, and we did a couple of installments on that. It goes right here in this big mess of wires. So that's going to go back on next. We're going to put it back on. I also painted that handle copper. So the amp wheel in the front is going to be copper. The amperage adjustment, or the polarity adjustment mechanism lever, is going to be copper, and then the lifting eye is copper. I painted that up here, you can see that, and then we'll have the lead holders on each side, so that way it'll be copper and black and have a good look to it. we'll put this polarity adjustment mechanism back on here. The SCR, you'll see the silicone control rectifier is not here. We got a new one from Stumps Welding because I pirated the one off this for a different machine. So we'll put that back in, and then we'll put our fan motor back in there. You'll see obviously no fan or motor. So the next time you see this machine, we'll have those 3 items on here. We'll have test fitted the fan, make sure everything fits good. We got a new cable keeper down there. I just got to tighten that up. It's kind of hand tight right now. And then normally what I do is we'll put the front plate on and leave everything else off, and we'll wire. I've got a test cord that I keep around, so that way we can crank this thing up and we'll see what it does. We'll run some test welds on it, and we'll kind of see how the fan functions and run it through all its settings and make sure it works. So the next time you see this machine, we'll have essentially all those parts on. The on and off switch, we'll have that back on too. We'll get it going on with all that stuff, and then we'll get ready to test fire. One thing that I'm going to do is I always take a little bit of WD-40 on this gear train here. I don't have a screwdriver, but this is a bearing in here, so we'll put a little WD-40 here. We'll put some down here, and then we'll put a little right up in here, and then on the back side, back up in there. I'll show you. It'll be better when I have a flashlight or something, but that way it keeps everything moving smooth because those are contact surfaces. It's like a bronze bearing in there. So just a kind of a recap on where we're at right now. So we're getting on the home stretch. We've got all the parts we need. We've got all the smelly painting done. So now we can just kind of lube things up, put it together, and get to that point where we can hit the on and off switch and see what it does. So more to follow.